You got to want it so bad because life is going to hit you. And if you're not serious, life is going to talk you out of your dreams and your goals. So I don't care what your dreams and goals are. Number one, you got to want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. Like number two, you have to make you got to make decisions that are in alignment with what you're trying to do. So if you don't like what's going on and you start gossiping, that's not a good decision. That's not going to help you make your dream become a reality. If it gets hard and you ready to quit and stop, that's not a good decision. That decision is not going to help you to become successful. It's just not. I don't care how you feel. I just think when your goals are for stuff, either one, you get the stuff and you lose your goals, you lose that driven, and then if you're doing it for stuff and you don't get the stuff when you thought you was gonna get the stuff, that's another way to lose it. But when it's intrinsic, when it's internal, when it's bigger than just you, it's bigger than just your family, when you have a major why, bro, I just believe that that's what keeps you going. So
Hey guys, welcome back to Driven Channel, and I'm here with a superstar, a guest that I've been wanting to collaborate with. And you know, ET, I had so many people on the Driven stage, Driven events, on the Driven channel, but there's one person left that I really, really wanted to collaborate with because you're a legend. Everybody knows about you, and a lot of my most powerful friends, they listen to you when they're working out. And I heard a lot of great things from you, from Les Brown and among many other people, Ed Milet. We got a lot of mutual friends. So it's another of my dreams that becomes true, having you on this show. So, and at Driven next weekend. So I'll see you Saturday. So I'm really excited, ET. So thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me. Super excited, I guess I should say. Muchas gracias, mi amigo. Thank you.
Gracias. Gracias. So I want to get started with, you have helped so many people all over the world when people have been maybe in dark times, hard times, about to give up, about to quit. One thing that sticks out from you that I love is how you help people get back up and fight for their dreams. What is it that you have that you're able to pick up people when they're about to quit to continue and push for their dreams?
Yeah, somebody pushed me and picked me up when I had lost it all. You know, I was 16 years old, 17, on a very dark place in my life, homeless, and a man for no reason saw greatness in me. And he made it his business, a best friend, a girlfriend, like all these individuals, I don't know why, but they, took an interest in me, really worked with me when I was like at my low, didn't have anything. And I always felt like the way I can repay them is to pay it forward. So for me, it's like, yo, E, you just got to do for others what was done to you, and so I've made it my business to, man, you got to understand, man, like being in abandoned buildings, being isolated. It was almost like, solitary confinement. I'm not with my mom. I'm not with my siblings. I'm in this abandoned building by myself, and they brought me out of that darkness. And so for me, I was just like, man, the way I show my appreciation is by helping as many humans as I possibly can.
That's awesome. And when you were going back, like if you could go back and think like it's yesterday, when you're homeless and somebody touches your life and you just rebound or your life changes from that moment, when did it happen and how did it happen?
So it happened when somebody spoke life into me. You got to understand, my mom was super upset with my behavior. got kicked out of school. The teachers really, were disappointed in me. And I think it happened when one person learned how to talk to me, when one person learned how to connect with me. When one person, still held me to a standard, like they didn't let me stay homeless, but they spoke to me in a way that wasn't degrading. They spoke to me in a way that still gave me hope. Like when people were talking to me before, all they ever talked about was, you're not going to be this, you're not going to do this, you're that, and it was almost like there's no hope, you're never going to accomplish anything. You're never going to be anybody. You're never going to do anything. And I had the pastor, my boy Bob, my girlfriend at the time. I had these individuals, still holding me to the fire, still holding me accountable, but it was in a hopeful way, inspirational way. It was motivating. It made me believe in myself and believe that anything was possible.
Yeah, and one thing that I noticed about you is that you're very this right here, driven, and I know that I was watching one of your videos, and you kept talking about you got to be driven, and where do you think that you get that drive, and how do you stay driven? Because some people are driven or they get motivated for a little bit, and then they lose it. Like what I want to do is I want to figure out, ET, how can people come to driven event? They get a lot of things out of it and they stay driven and keep that drive forever. Is there any way to keep it forever? Because you kept it forever. I think I've kept it forever, but how do you get that drive and find what drives you and then keep that drive forever?
Well, for me, I think if what drives you or moves you is extrinsic, it's an internal goal. Like it might be, you want to be a millionaire, you want to make a lot of money and drive fancy cars. Like you want a house. Like I feel like if your goals are external, then you will only be as motivated to the extent in which you make those dreams become a reality. But when you think about it, all of the things that I just mentioned, cars, jewelry, houses, whatever, millions, those things really are attainable. Like they're attainable. You can do it. And then once you do it, it's like, I did it. What's next? So I think one of the things you have to do is you have to have as many internal goals as possible, And so what do I mean by that? Like I'm trying to help, 1 million young people go back to school, Black, brown kids, take school serious, whatever. That's 1 million, bro. I don't know how long that's going to take to go into these school districts, whether it's LA, whether it's Crenshaw, whether it's Detroit, Chicago. Like, how long is that going to take me to be able to get 1 million kids, right? I want to help. I take kids to the Super Bowl every year. I take kids to Dubai every year. Like I have these goals that it's just not something you could do in 5 to 10 years. And so that drives me. Now, I think when your goals are beyond you, just you. So I put my kids through college already. Now I'm trying to put my cousins through college. Now I'm trying to put strangers through college. I paid off my house. Now me and my wife have a program that helps other people pay off their house. I just think when your goals are for stuff, either one, you get the stuff and you lose your goals. You lose that driven. And then if you're doing it for stuff and you don't get the stuff when you thought you was going to get the stuff, that's another way to lose it. But when it's intrinsic, when it's internal, when it's bigger than just you, it's bigger than just your family. When you have a major why, bro, I just believe that that's what keeps you going. So I got the degrees, we made a New York Times bestsellers list, whatever. It's like Nobel Prizes left. It's like I keep coming up with stuff that's going to make me wake up. It's going to stretch me. And I think the majority of people who are not driven, their dreams are attainable. They're not like God dreams. They're not like other humans' dreams. They're not. It's like stuff you could do. I want to get a Maserati. I want to get $1 million house. You could do that stuff. That's easy. So I just think when it's not external, but it's internal, that your drive is deeper and it lasts longer.
Yeah. So what I get from this is your dreams and your mission and vision in this world is to help the masses, to touch a lot of people, not just one person. And I'll tell you a quick story. So one time I was in June. So June 8th, I was getting to my office, and this is after they broke into my house. And they broke into my house, 4 robbers, all covered, ski masks, and they had guns. And fortunately, my dad didn't stay that night in that. I think I told you a little bit, but my dad was supposed to stay that night, but he left, and because of that, my dad is still alive. I don't know what could have happened that night, and I was out of town. So it happened. They stole a watch that was really expensive and some cash that I had in the house. We moved out of that house, and this happened because I want to help the masses. Like me, I inspire a lot of the Latino community because I'm Latino. And we had to talk about that too. I'm very inspired and driven to help my Latino community, especially the millennials, because I'm a millennial and I am in somewhat proof of what a little Mexican that came from nothing can do in this world. So I take that as a responsibility. So by me putting myself out there to the masses so that more people can see me on social media and creating these events, collaborating, then I put myself in a situation where now it brings a lot of pros, which I'm able to get a bigger audience, but it also brings cons where now I'm a target. So coming into the office happened again, but this time 2 robbers attacked me. One had a gun on my back. One had a gun on my chest. They took my watch again and they left. And it just happened that they rushed at me. And in that moment, I thought about my daughter. My daughter Italia is 5.5. My daughter Berlin is 3. I thought about my wife. And then I thought about, wait, my businesses, our employees, our salespeople. And then I thought about, wait, what about the world? What about everybody else that I'm helping and inspiring? Because I get a lot of messages in the morning, sometimes DMs, messages. Hey, you know what? You inspire me. You inspire me. So I started thinking about the world. So I can see how you focus on the masses, but like, let's say you're in a position now where you're making a lot of money, but I think that came because you're helping a lot of people. Now that you help a lot of people, how do you deal with the pros and cons? You're changing the world. But now it's not that. Now it's kind of hard for you to go out and be around a lot of people because you're going to have some bad people out there too. So how do you deal with this? And because I need help with this, and I'm sure you have the answer for this.
Yeah, one of the things you said that I think is important, is like I won't say names because I don't want to get anybody involved. But I had an opportunity to be on a major show. And unfortunately, they canceled like 3 times, and then it was like, okay, we're ready for you. The Queen passed, and that changed some stuff. So, but they called me, and asked for something like a COVID test or something, like last minute, and I'm gonna be real. I thought about it. I was like, I have to manage the success that I have, and I have to manage the exposure. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I kind of felt like, and I don't know if this makes sense to you or not, but I kind of felt like, when the things happen the way they happen, I kind of felt like, okay, maybe this is a sign from God. I don't know for a fact, but I'm like, maybe this is a sign from God, that I don't need to expose myself to millions of people at this particular time. Because like before I was gonna go, we had everything worked out, but when it stuff just kept happening, I was like, maybe that's a sign from God. And if you noticed, there's a lot of stuff that I don't do that I could do. And again, it is that managing the success. Because I think sometimes when you get successful, you like manage poverty. You like, okay, I got to save. I got to work hard. I got to do it. But I don't think, man, for real, to be honest, I don't think a lot of us manage success. I think we let success drive us. Like, I don't know that we're always in the driver's seat when it comes to success. So there's some stuff that you mentioned, there's just some stuff that I, like if you ever watch me speak or something, you don't see anything, right? And I manage it like, I know while this might be good, it may also bring unnecessary attention. So I'm always conscious of, all right, t-shirt, my hat,
Yeah.
no jewelry, no nothing. I try as much as I can to manage and just say, yo, just because it's an opportunity to be more successful. And I know you've heard this term before. It's the law of diminishing returns, right? It's the law of diminishing returns, meaning that, to make an extra 3 million when I already might have 13 million, well, that extra 3 million may cause more problems and more damage than it might be than good. So just because I have an opportunity to grow and just because I have an opportunity to get more success, like that may not necessarily be in my best interest. So I think one of the things I've done a very good job in is managing success and not taking every opportunity, that comes. It's like, and with you, I was fortunate that was through Cole. You know what I'm saying? So for me, like, that's my guy. So it's like, oh, if you tell me to do something, like, okay, I got it, let's go. But somebody else might call me and be willing to give me 3 times what somebody in the family might be willing to give me. But it's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Why? Because it's more money, but I don't know the human that I'm working for. I don't know the environment that I'm coming into. But if it's like Cole or somebody that I know what environment I'm coming into. Like Cole knows me, understand me. He's not gonna bring me into a certain environment. So yeah, I could go make 3 times the money, but at what cost? And so I think I've done a very good job of not taking every talk show or taking every movie opportunity or taking every whatever it is, every engagement. Like I haven't taken every one. Why? Because while it might be economically beneficial, it may not be beneficial, like you mentioned, for my physical health and my family's, physical health. So again, I think a lot of us are first, like we don't ever say this. We're first generation wealth. Like we don't use that term, but we really first generation, bro. Like we're not third generation. We don't come from old money. And so I think for a lot of us, we need to be trained. I've seen guys lose their marriage because they were so successful, not know their kids because they were so successful. And it's like, yo, it's the law of diminishing returns, meaning that you get to a point where you're doing well enough that to do better is actually detrimental to you and not a sound and healthy for you.
So relationships and burning your bridges, how important is that? Because what you mentioned right now is like, hey, it's not about the money, but if it's coming from a relationship that I have, then I'm going to go with that because relationships are huge. Now, also burning bridges, how important is burning bridges and relationships in general?
Yeah, so let me answer the second one first. I don't ever intentionally burn a bridge. But what I do is I elevate. And a lot of people aren't able to elevate. So I would never say to a relationship that I'm in, because I never know who I'm going to need tomorrow. So I would never say to a person like, yo, this relationship is done, it's over, I'm through with you. But what I will do is GED, 4-year degree, master's degree, PhD, New York Times bestseller. Like I will outgrow you. I will outgrow you. I may end up going to college and you're not in college with me, so we're not spending much time. I may go buy a property in Cali and be in Cali. Like, so I'm not going to ever discontinue myself from you intentionally. Oof, but I am going to outgrow you. And I'm going to develop in a way that probably you're not going to feel comfortable. Or I'm going to be hanging with people who are movers and shakers. And I read something somewhere. If you can't walk with the footmen, then how do you keep up with the horsemen? You feel me? So like, you can't keep up with the foot soldiers. You definitely can't keep up with the horse. So for me, it's like, just become a horseman and they're not gonna be able to keep up with you. So that's number one. I never burn bridges. I just outgrow folks, right? I never change my number. I never tell a person that I'm done, but I move in such a way that I grow so much. I elevate so fast that if you're not comfortable with growth, you're not gonna. So to your first point, man, just think about it. Just think about if you were the wealthiest man in the world and you didn't have any friendships. Just think if you, like, can I be honest with you? My greatest why has always been my son. Like my firstborn child put a fire under me and has kept the fire under me that nobody else could keep under me, not even my wife. I love my wife to life, but my son pushed me to go back to college. My son pushed me to stop playing video games. My son pushed me to stop being lazy. My son's existence in this world made me a father. I was never a father. It made me responsible. I was never responsible. He made me responsible in a way. I've never had money. To be honest with you, the more money I make, the more lazy I get. You know, I'm just being honest. The more money I make, it's like somebody might call me and be like, E.T., we got 5 gigs for you. I'm like, I don't want to do them. Like, I just want to be at home with my wife. Now, when I was broke, I wasn't navigating engagements. I was taking any engagement. I don't care if it was $1,000, $1,500. Their engagement now, it's $100,000. I'm like, nah, I'm good on that. I told you I had an opportunity to go on the show that I know millions and millions of people watch. I'm like, nah, this just don't feel right. It's like 3 cancellations. Now this comes up. I'm good. It don't feel right in my soul. I'm good. I just don't think God is calling me to do it at this point because it's just too many. It's not smooth. That's not fluid. It's just, it's like, it's a lot. It's a lot of, just, it seems like roadblocks. So I'm telling you, relationships, man, when I go out on a cruise with my wife, or we're flying Emirates first class, 14 hours, and we chopped it up. When we're in Dubai and on the water in Dubai, looking at the Burj Khalifa, you know what I'm saying? Like, as we're walking the streets of Miami, we're going out to a restaurant and the conversation in, LA. Like, bruh, we went to what is that called? Yard House in Long Beach. It was the first one we saw with the water boy right there. And like bro, that was that experience was way better than just money. So I think money is important. I really do. But I think money is important. And I think it's important to the depth of the rest of your life. So if you're in great relationships, now you can use that money to travel and do stuff together. If you're in great relationships, you can have transportation to get you where. If you're in great relationships, you can have a phenomenal hotel room, fly first class or fly private. But what would it be like to fly private by yourself all the time? Or to have a beautiful house and be by yourself in a beautiful house? You feel me? So the way you talk about your dad, like, man, my dad wasn't there. You didn't go, oh man, they robbed, they took everything. It was like, bro, I can replace all of that. But your dad, you couldn't replace. So I think relationships and a sense of purpose and looking out for our people, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah. And how important is it to watch the source of your advice? Because I know you, like for you and me, I know that we've had a lot of people that give us advice, like mom, dad, aunts, uncles, friends. Everybody has an expertise in everything. But how do you make your decisions based on advice from people?
I never let people give me constructive criticism who've never constructed anything. So if you haven't built, if you're giving me advice in a particular area that you've never built anything, you don't have any personal experience, I'm not going to listen. So for instance, my wife, my mom, CJ, my business partner, I didn't listen to any of them when it came to a New York Times bestseller. I didn't. I listened to Rory. Why? Because Rory has written several books and has helped several authors become New York Times bestsellers. So I listen to Rory. My mom don't know nothing about writing and producing a New York Times bestseller. My wife don't know nothing about that. CJ don't know nothing about it. He knew he wanted me to have it. He knew it was like the next goal we should go after, but he has no idea how to make that happen. Rory knew how to make it happen. So although Rory and I didn't have a prior relationship, I did not love him. I don't know him. But I listened to him because he had more, his credit score was better in that than mine was. So I don't listen to people whose credit score is 300. I'm not listening to you talk about, but if my mom, wants to talk about raising kids. Bruh, let's go, Ma. I'm listening all day. If my mom want to talk about interior design, oh, Mom, listen all day. But entrepreneurship, absolutely not. She worked for Ford Motor Company for 30-some years. Absolutely not, and retired. She doesn't even know the construct of entrepreneurship. She didn't even have an entrepreneur mindset. So I wouldn't listen to my mom. So if a person's credit score is low in an area or is not higher than yours, you probably shouldn't be listening to them. If a person has never constructed anything in a particular area, they shouldn't be giving you constructive criticism.
Yeah. And rich people think or work. I heard you say something about that.
Yeah. Rich people in this country, 400 years ago, 300 years, 200 years ago, 100 years, like rich people have never worked. They got other people to do their work for them. They think in systems, they think strategy, they think ideas, they think scaling. But I will say this to you. There are a lot of people that we're going to be talking to on Saturday at the Driven Conference that literally have the makeup that it takes to do that same thing, but culturally, they don't have the mindset. And so you and I are going to help them with their mindset. It's like, and please help me. I know I'm probably saying the term wrong. Ken Sierra, say that term for me when the girls turn 15.
Quinceañera.
Quinceañera. So
Quinceañera.
So we had that. We of course we have a Latino population here, so we had the celebration, and it was a beautiful celebration. And the young lady was 15, of course. She was on stage, beautiful dress. Mom and dad came up, and talked about, she was a queen, and I didn't say anything, during the event. Afterwards, the next week, I said, I want to pull the two of you aside. And they said, Pastor, what happened? Did we do anything wrong? I said, no. Actually, you did most of everything right. It's just you're missing something. You told her she was going to be a queen, but you never gave her the blueprint on how to become one. You just told her she was going to be a queen. You never gave her an outline. You never gave her a blueprint. You never gave her a roadmap. We need to give her a roadmap. And they said, oh, okay, great. But why would you say that? I said, because you say she's a queen, but somebody's going, and no, where I'm not a disrespectful human. I'm not being disrespectful.
Yeah.
I just said, if you don't have a goal for her, then somebody's going to see her as cleaning their hotel. That's the image that they have of her. They don't have an image of a queen for her. So yes, you and I have an image of her being a queen, but somebody in the corporate space, somebody that's a shark, like they're not looking at her, oh, she's a queen. That's not how they're looking at her. They're looking at, so I said, what you guys got to do is we got to change her mentality, because you're telling her she's a queen, but she's not seeing queen stuff. Mom, you came here a certain way. Dad, you got here a certain way. And so you guys, for whatever reason, have decided that you're going to do this for a profession, but you're telling your daughter to be a queen. She can't be a queen watching y'all do this. So we got to give her a blueprint so we can change her mentality, so that not only does she hear she's a queen, she got to think like a queen, and she got to make moves like a queen. So if she can think like a queen and make moves like a queen, she ain't gonna never have to work for nobody. She's the same system that she's in, she's gonna learn how those who are successful in the system, she's gonna learn how they do what they do. So for me, I just believe a lot of our people were introduced to this country by working, and while we celebrate work, while we know the grind is real, in this generation, there's a different grind. There's a different way to do it. Like my ancestors picked cotton in the cotton field. We don't have to do that no more. There's a different way through enterprise. There's a different way. And of course, traditionally your people have had the opportunities that they've had in whatever fields, you guys worked in. So our fields was the cotton fields. So it's like, no, you're not. Your mama taught you to work with your hands. It was nothing wrong with that maybe 100 years ago. We're at a different time. And so we've got to change our mentality and not see ourselves in the way others see us. We have to see ourselves in the way we want to be seen. And so that's why I think this conference is so important, because you cannot do that if you're not driven. And so when I look at the parents, I'm like, yo, You're driven, but you're driven in this direction. And the way you're being driven, you're going to help somebody else's dreams become a reality. You're not about to help yourself and your family. I want you to keep that same drive, but not here, but here and here. And so I'm looking forward to coming to the conference because as a speaker who loves his people, and I understand what my people have gone through, I'm coming there to help change the mindset and the culture, not just work, but the mindset and the culture. Because, bro, I wrote a New York Times bestseller. Like, let's just be honest. I put myself in a position from a passive income standpoint that as I'm sleeping, the book is making money for me. We'll make millions, and the book will sell for the next 3 to 5 years easy. We'll make millions. That's a different way to make money than even when I thought I had to be on stage just making money. I'll make more money probably and easier from a book and a course than I'll ever make standing on stage speaking. And I've been fortunate. I've not gotten COVID. I've never been sick. I've never not been on stage because of an illness or a sickness. But still, that's making money this way. Now it's like, you got to make money this way. So I'm looking forward to coming and really helping people to change, the way their mentality.
Thank you, ET. And culture, you mentioned culture. How important is strong culture? And for business culture, what does that mean to you?
It means our DNA. It means our DNA. It means, I always tell people, Michael Jordan was always a phenomenal basketball player, always. The man scored 63 points and lost he scored 63 points and lost in the playoffs to the Boston Celtics. He was a winner, but he was in a losing culture. He had joined the Bulls. The Bulls had never won anything. He was in a losing culture. And then Phil Jackson came. And Phil Jackson was a winner. Phil Jackson won an NBA title as a player. And then he came over as a coach and brought the championship culture to Michael Jordan. And he created a culture that says, Mike, the way you're doing things you're doing too much. Again, here. You're not playing here. You're only playing here. You're playing with your athleticism. You're not playing with your mind. You don't have a system. We can't scale Michael Jordan. So we're gonna create a triangle. We can scale a triangle. You can put different people in a triangle and we can win a championship. And they won 6. And I believe they could have won 8 had he not retired and then came back into the league. So culture it is the blueprint for winning. It is the steps that winners take. And again, with Roy, he created a culture of New York Times bestseller, meaning that he did it on his own. He's done it with multiple people, and he did it with me. He has a culture. He has a blueprint. He has a way. And so thank God that you have driven, because that is what it takes to create that culture. And now we're going to take people who are in the culture, but who are bringing some of their negative traits, characteristics, and mindsets. We're going to eradicate that. And we're going to say to them, bro, we already in a winning culture. You just don't have the right mindset. So although you're in the right culture, you keep bringing the wrong traits. There are traits to greats. Cultures have traits. And these are the traits of the greats. And what they're bringing is traits of average. They're bringing traits of people who aren't successful. And so we just got to get them to understand, yes, I know that you are married to these traits because they're yours, but they're not working. I know you love them because they come from you and your family, but they're not working. And can I be honest? It may have worked 100 years ago for that time frame. It may have worked 60 years ago. But in the time frame we're living now with entrepreneurship and enterprise, those behaviors and that mindset will not work for what Driven is trying to do. So I'm really looking forward to it. I've got some phenomenal constructs, some phenomenal ideas, simplified, to help people to really take advantage of this opportunity that you're given.
Yeah, and traits. If you would pick 3 of your favorite traits that maybe you have, that Michael Jordan had, that are really important. I know these traits might be difficult for the average people. And then what I notice also, just follow-up question is, what happens when people fall off your culture because your culture is just so demanding?
Yeah. So number one, the first one is you gotta have an insatiable desire. You gotta be obsessed, bro. You gotta be obsessed. You know, we were in Chicago. I did a Thursday all day, a Friday all day, a Saturday all day. Sunday, I went and talked to a group, Mastermind, and I went and did something for parents. Monday, I got up and worked with some kids. Like, bro, I'm obsessed. You got to be obsessed with it, because the only way to capture a running target is you got to be obsessed. You got to want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. You got to want it. And the reason why I say you got to want it is because, you know, everybody, why water? Why not water when you want to drink? Why not food? Because you can live without food for 30 days and survive. You can go 3-4 days without water, you can survive. You can't go without breathing for long without damaging your brain. You cannot go without breathing for 5 minutes. That's why I said as bad as you want to breathe. So number one, you got to want it so bad because life is going to hit you. And if you're not serious, life is going to talk you out of your dreams and your goals. So I don't care what your dreams and goals are. Number one, you got to want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. Like, number two, you have to make you got to make decisions that are in alignment with what you're trying to do. So if you don't like what's going on and you start gossiping, that's not a good decision. That's not going to help you make your dreams become a reality. If it's getting hard and you ready to quit and stop, that's not a good decision. That decision is not going to help you to become successful. It's just not. I don't care how you feel. It has nothing to do with feelings. It's facts. And so number two, you got to be a good decision maker. Like, and a lot of people don't think about decision making. That's everything. Getting with the wrong group, marrying the wrong person, taking the wrong job. Do you know there are people who didn't follow the GPS and took a wrong turn and end up something serious happened? That wasn't a good decision. So number two, you got to be a great decision maker. Number three, man, I've been talking about it the whole time. You need the blueprint. You need the blueprint. I never forget sitting down listening to Warren Buffett in the meeting that I was invited to. Let me just be honest with you. I never did real estate until I was in the room with Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett made it clear that they was about to buy up downtown Detroit. And they were about to get it for pennies to the dollar. And I was like, oh, so billionaires, a part of their portfolio is real estate. So it doesn't matter how I feel about real estate. That's the blueprint. That one of the ways you make a lot of money in this country is real estate, and real estate is something you could pass down. I can't pass down my voice or my speaking ability to my kids, but every property I own, I can pass that down to my kids.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, the final one is a blueprint. Now, here's what you do when people fall off. And I'm glad you asked me that, because a lot of people fall off.
Especially now.
I'm a shepherd. So I hate when people fall off. So here's what my wife told me. My wife said, you got it all wrong. You're a bus. See yourself as a bus. And I was like, what does that mean? She said, you're a bus, you're a train. I said, okay, what does that mean? She said, okay, a bus has stops. Every day it has stops. And it has stops at a certain time. So you're a bus. So you do what you're supposed to do every day. And don't worry about who's getting on the bus or who's getting off the bus. Just make sure that the bus is running on time, and it gets to the spots it's supposed to get to. So whoever wants to get on can get on. Whoever wants to get off, get off. She said, your job is not to figure out who's getting on or getting off. That's not what they pay you to do. They pay you to drive the bus. They pay you to be on time. They pay you to get to the spot on time. Stay as long as you're supposed to stay. If you're supposed to wait for people for a minute, you wait for a minute. Not in a second. Not 59 seconds. Whoever gets on and gets off, that's their business. That's not your business. So what my wife was telling me, because I'm not a bus driver and I don't drive a train, what she was telling me is, put your videos up every day. Whoever watches, that's their business. Who don't watch, they watch every day, that's their business. They watch once a week, that's their business. It does not matter. Your job is to set the standard, do what you say you're going to do. Do what you say you're going to do consistently. Keep growing and elevating what you say you're going to do. And whoever's supposed to be on the bus will be on. whoever's supposed to get off will get off.
Yeah. So focus on things you could control and not on things you can control.
And you can't control people. And you can't control when people come on and get off. So don't, and here's what you do. Don't you ever compromise your blueprint, your DNA. Because when you compromise, when you compromise for people, you automatically compromise the outcomes. And the outcomes, that's the goal, not the people. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't love on people. I've been with CJ for 20-some years in the business, Carl, 20-some years, Lashana, 18 years. I've been married to Dee Dee for over 32 years. We've been together 37 years. There's a lot of people I still rock with, but I don't put them first. I told my son today, bruh, if you want to take off a couple of days. But if you're not taking off and you're working, you've never seen dad go, I'm tired. I'm not going. Nah, if I need to take off, I need to take off. But if I'm working full speed. I'm not working 80% or 90. No, we need to take off. If you need to take off, take off. If you need to get some rest, go get some rest. Go get some mental, emotional, physical rest. But if you're working, work. If you are working, work. And so we got to work, man, because I told my son, I got mom to feed. I got my family to feed. I got a company that I got to feed. I got a church that I got to feed. I got a world I got to feed. I do not have time to worry about if you getting off or getting on. You being selfish. You have siblings. You have other people that need this inspiration and this message just like you do. So keep going. If they fall off, that's their business. But keep the schedule so if they ever want to get back on the bus, they know how to get back on the bus.
Got it. And we have a real estate brokerage and we have a mortgage brokerage. So as you've probably heard, interest rates have gone up a lot and prices have been going up. Inflation, now prices are kind of going down a little bit. So everybody's kind of like, what's going on? And a lot of realtors and lenders are panicking. And then buyers also, should I buy? Should I not? Should I refi? What should I do? So when times were good last year, it was easy. Who wouldn't refinance at 2.5% interest rate, where now it's like in the sevens? Who would not buy a house when properties are they're going up like pancakes? Now, today, that has changed to the complete opposite. So now people are, wait, is it a good time to buy? Rates are super high. So now that it's very complicated, a lot harder than it was last year, what I've noticed, people now that were happy when times were good, now they're not that happy. And now instead of blaming themselves, they're blaming everything else. So they're blaming the company they're at. They're blaming all of a sudden, no, the rates, the market, my boss, my broker, my this. And I see a lot of people like making some radical decisions that are not the best sometimes because they're under the impression that something's going on and it's not my fault. It's everybody else's fault. They find who to blame. And maybe I'm wrong. You correct me, ET, because you know more than me. So I'm here to learn from you. And I see it as, if there's something going on, I am the problem. I'm the problem and I'm the one to fix it, not anybody else. How do you feel about that?
Let me say this to you, so I can help them. Because sometimes when we talk in our language, a lot of them get offended and they can't understand. Right? So let's talk their language. If you love soccer or football, you understand. What's your favorite team?
Real Madrid.
Okay, so we understand that, in preseason
or Lakers. I love Lakers. I'm a Laker guy too.
Okay, so let's just say, it's preseason. Nobody's taking it serious, right? We get into, the regular season. And it's regular season, so everybody gets to play. And, depending on how good you are or how good you aren't, sometimes you could beat up on bad teams. They're not good. Sometimes you could beat up on average teams. But here's what happens. At some point, regular season is over, and they have something called the playoffs. If you can only play in regular season, who are you? If you can only play when you got to, everybody gets to play. It's a regular season. It's 82 games. Like, if you can only play during that time frame, that speaks to the volume of who you are as a team. It's like you're not good. You're going to play during the season. When we get to playoffs, well, playoffs now, that's the best teams. Now you're playing the best teams. And so some of the stuff you could get away with in regular season because you was playing bums, you can't get away with that now that you're playing in the playoffs. And when you go from the wild cards playing, when you go against, the play-in, when you playing the 8th seed, but when you start playing the number 4 team playing number 1, the number 2 team playing against number 3, it's totally, so it's not, it's something wrong with basketball. There's nothing wrong with basketball. Oh no, you got to raise your game up. You got to be at another level. Then when you go to the championship, you playing the best of the best. So you never see LeBron scared because he in the playoffs. You never see CP3 scared because he in the playoffs. You never saw Jordan scared when he was in the playoffs. Jordan was just as good in the playoffs as he was in the regular season. Why? Because Jordan did what Jordan needed to do to elevate his game so much that it didn't matter who they was playing or what the season was or what the score was. Jordan was so good. So when I say to people, you need 2% rate, that's regular season. Everybody can play in regular season. That's easy. 7%, it's the playoffs now. Now it ain't no giveaway. It ain't easy. It ain't no alley-oop. Now you got to earn every point. When you get to the playoffs, when you get to the Western Conference Finals, you got to earn every point. When you get to the championship, you got to earn every single point. So if you turn the interest rates up 7% on me, I'm good. Why? Because I was never selling a house for interest rates in the first place. I was selling homes because of the value of a home. What happens when you get a home? What that does for your credit, what that does for your buying power, what that does for your family, what that does for you to have a part of the American dream, what that does for generation to generation to generation to have a property. So if I bought a house in LA, I don't care if I paid $300,000 or $330,000. If it's in LA, 10 years from now, it's going to be worth $500,000, $530,000. So for me, I'm not scared of the playoffs. I'm not scared of the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not scared of the play. I'm not scared of Premier soccer, MLS. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. That's some American stuff. Like that ain't. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people can come over here and compete with them. You start doing the Premier League. That's a total different. That's Beckham back in the day. That, you know what I'm saying? That's a Cristo. That's a different league. And so for me, I don't get scared because of interest rates because I'm a phenomenal, equipped, driven player. And so I actually welcome the NBA Finals because I want to prove that I'm the best. So bring on 7% so I can prove to you that I don't need percentages. I'm good enough to sell a house because the value of a house and what it does for somebody, I can show them 2%, 7%. At the end of the day, that's not going to stop you. That's not going to stop you from being successful. Why? Because there are people buying at 7%.
Yeah. And a couple of things before we wrap up, ET. Were you by any chance at the Laker game Christmas Day last year?
Yes.
You were?
Yes.
Dude, you were sitting. You were sitting next to me, courtside.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you at the private lounge inside. Because I went to the private lounge. I was with my wife. Yeah, you were there. Christmas game. I was wearing the Mexico jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Because I saw you, and I'm like, wait, that's ET. And like I didn't know I could call you ET. So I was like, I told my wife, hey, that's Eric Thomas. But I wasn't sure. So I'm like, wait, because I saw you had the hat. And I recognized you, but I'm like, wait, that's Eric Thomas? But I watch. I'll tell you on Saturday when you see my wife. I was sure I was going to go up to you, but I wasn't sure, so I should have gone up to you. That was my mistake. Yeah. But that's crazy, man. I remember that day like it was yesterday. So one quick thing. So you really wake up at 3 a.m. from what I understand. You wake up at 3 a.m. every day, right?
Yeah.
Is that yeah? So how do you wake up at 3 a.m. every day and have energy for like what time is your clock out time where you get your sleep and how many hours do you get of sleep?
So, in the summertime, the sun doesn't set here until 10. So I usually go to bed about 10:30, 11. Probably working on about four hours of sleep. But the winter, I probably go to bed about 9 because the sun sets early. But man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, if somebody got up early and you wanted to go take a nap or something, you could. But here's why I do it. There are no distractions at 3 o'clock.
That's right. Yeah.
None. And so my phone's not ringing. My wife's not up. Like, and not in a bad way. But my wife, she's earned after 30-some years of marriage, she's earned some demands. So my wife is driven. Oh, my wife is driven.
Yeah.
So she's driven for me to wash clothes, driven for me to clean up, driven to make the bed. So at 3 o'clock, I'm by myself. My wife doesn't get up till about 7:30. I have 4 uninterrupted hours to just pray, to read my Bible, to exercise, to study, to meditate. And so I get up early just because I don't like the distractions. And again, for real, if you need to go to bed at 5 p.m., 6 p.m., you need to go to bed at noon. Like, it doesn't matter. If you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever time you get up and handle your business and you're making good money, you can always go take a nap. But it's harder to go from being wealthy to napping to wealth. The reverse is hard. So to make a bunch of sacrifices and then put yourself in a position where you can make a lot of money and then you can nap when you want to versus napping and then become successful, that's kind of hard. So I'd say get up as early as you can, go as hard as you can for as long as you can. And then once you start getting the benefits from it, then you can go take a nap, and chill.
Yeah. And one of the things that I really love about you, respect a lot, is that you mentioned it earlier. You never do anything like 80%. Like, you always make sure that if you know there's a slight chance you might not be 100% or close to it, because I know it's also kind of, sometimes you don't feel 100%, but you still have to do it. But you always know that you want to be at the peak level and you want to put yourself in that position. And if you're not going to be at peak position, then you're not going to commit to it, and you're going to do it another time. Is this the way you've run your entire life, or is this something new that you do?
No. Can I ask you a question? When was the last? When was the prior to LeBron James? When was the last championship you remember the Lakers getting before LeBron?
Kobe with Paul Gasol.
Good.
And Lamar Odom.
Can you name all 12 of the players on the team at that time?
Maybe like 8 of them.
You told me you're a Laker fan. You feel me? Like, yeah. I can't name but 3. You're a Laker fan. Why can't you name all 12? Because they weren't all 120. That's why you can't name them all.
Yeah.
You went to the games and you can't name them all. Like, you a fan and you can't name them all. You can't name the dude that was giving 60%. You don't know his name. You got a slight idea who my man is. Now, when I ask you who was the superstars of the team, you're going to tell me who.
Kobe, Paul Gasol, Lamar Odom, Fisher.
12 people on the team. You just named 4, right?
Yeah.
Because they weren't giving 120. Here's the deal. Kobe gave 120. And as a result of Kobe giving 120, can we roughly say Kobe was the best player on the team?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Kobe was 120 and gave everything. Kobe never had to work again. Fisher had to work again. Odom, he had to work again. Because Kobe didn't just give 120 that year or the year before that. He's always giving it. Here's what I'm trying to explain. If you're going to play, you might as well give 120, because if you give 120, you never have to work again. If you give 80, after you finish working, you got to go back to work. So Steve Fisher had to go back to work. He was a coach for maybe the girls' team or something, or the dudes, and then went to the girls, whatever. He had to work again. Odom, I don't know what Odom doing with his life right now, but he didn't have the lifestyle Kobe had. So what I'm telling you, the reason why I give 120 is because 120 elevated me to the top. Now let's just say this. When you say you're number 1 in the world, it's subjective, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all my fans think I'm number 1, okay? Let me say this to you. Regardless of what number I really am, I'm one of the top 3-4 speakers in the world. I'll never have to work again. I'll never have to work again. I never have to worry about engagements. Like, I'm constantly, I turn down more than I do I never have to worry about it. I did a book, my first published book, New York Times bestseller, LA, USA Today. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you, even when I did the book, I went 120 and I got all of that in the first 5 days. And my book didn't come out to Tuesday. They go from Saturday to Saturday. I didn't get to count Saturday. I didn't get to count Sunday. I wasn't in the Monday count. They started counting on me on Tuesday. And by Saturday, we had hit the list. What am I saying? I'm saying that you have to do it anyway. So why would you only give 80%? And then after you finish, you have to work again because you only got 80. And you got to do a bunch of jobs if you're only going to do 80. But you only have to do one job if you do 120. You only got to do one job if you do 120. That's it. You don't have to do a bunch of other stuff. If you do anything at the highest level, you only have to do it once. And you can eat off of that for the rest of your life. Now, there are people who aren't good stewards. That's a different story. So there are people who would make 80 million and lose it because they're not good stewards. But if you 120 in business, 120 in your finances, 120 in your craft, then you'll never have to work again. So my thing is, why do 70 when you have to have about 4 or 5 jobs before you die? When you can do what Kobe did, what Michael Jordan did, what LeBron did, one job, they went 120. They'll never have to, sportscasters, sports announcers, they'll never have to do any of that.
Yeah. Now, really quick, ET, what happens if you committed to something huge, you can't miss it, and then like the night before, you get a little sick or whatever, or you don't feel 100%, but you know that you have to do it because lives depend on it. Like, how do you make it happen?
Same way Michael Jordan scored 50-some points when he had the flu. The responsibilities don't change because I'm not feeling 100%. Nothing changes. And that's what people don't realize. My wife still needs to eat even though I'm sick. My son needs to eat. My daughter needs, my company, they still need to eat. And so every stage that I get on that I murder, it's another opportunity. Like, man, I'm just being real. You sent me a video. I promise you, I called my squad. We sat down. I said, listen to me, y'all. I'm not interested in speaking for Driven. I'm interested in helping Albert close that gap he got. And I think we have something that can help close the gap. I need y'all to put the best presentation you can put. Now, I get one shot with this man. I want to show him I'm not tripping on no speaking engagement. I already know I could do that. But I know how many people are relying on you, and I know how many people aren't getting it. Like, that's what I'm in the business now. Like, yo, they not getting it. But I know sometimes for somebody like you operate at such a high level that sometimes you don't speak average no more. Like, you don't speak average no more. You only speak great. And people who are average or good, they have a hard time hearing you. But I know you love them so much and you love your community so much and you want people to be successful. Bruh, if no more of these average people give up and quit, if no more of them ever became successful, you'd still eat and eat well off of those who are driven. Like, you only need 300. You only need 300 in the battle. You don't need 3,000 people. You need 300. So I know you already got the staff and the people you need to kill a game. I know a big part of what you're doing is you really do want to help people who've been marginalized. You know, people who've been taken advantage of. Man, you know, I told you I got a property in Cali, right? And in full transparency. And this is why when you call, I was like, man, I gotta, call, but I gotta do it because I really feel like, man, it's not right. The people that built my home in Cali were great people. We talked, great people. But a lot of them that did my home would never be able to live in that kind of community. Albert, it's not fair. You built the house. It's not fair for you to see it from start to end. And you got to drive back on another side of town 40 minutes from where I am. It's not right for you to see these pools and to see how these people are living and that you built this and you're not able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Like, yo, that's not right, man. That's not right that, and then you're doing all the work and then people talk to you and treat you a certain kind of way. That's not right. Or people take more money for themselves than they should, and they could spread the wealth a little bit more just because they have a they have a certificate or because they have a license. And so when you call me, I'm like, yo, bro, I gotta help those people in the room to understand you don't have a lot of options. Real estate is one of the options you have to position yourself to be and do everything you can have. So when you call me, I call my staff and we went through the video and we've been working on slides ever since. In the right music, the right slides, the right imagery. Because when I get there, it's not about the stage. It's about helping hundreds of people change their mindset so they can get what the people who didn't quit, give up, what they're getting. And if you would have called me and told me nobody's getting it, I would have been like, oh, I can't help you. But when you went, yo, there's a group that's getting it, but there's a larger group that's not, I'm like, I know what it takes to get that group too. And when I get on stage and I come off, oh yeah, you're gonna be proud of me. And not that death. You're gonna call me 6 months later, you're gonna call me a year later, and you're gonna be like, yo, bro, thank you so much. I couldn't even pay you what it's worth to join me in the cause of my people like they your people. And they are God's children. But you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you care about, and you're gonna have great speakers that are gonna give phenomenal messages. But I wanna go out on a limb and say, ain't nobody gonna care about your people the way I'm gonna care about your people. And nobody's gonna pour into your people the way I pour into them. And I'm not talking about information, because we all gonna do that. But a love and a sincerity and a strategy that's gonna unlock their mentality. And they're gonna be ready to work for you in a way they've never worked before.
Yeah, E.T., it's an honor to have you here. Thank you for all the valuable stuff you shared, and appreciate you. You're my hermano, your familia. So
my brother, my family.
Hey,
también.
Yeah, no, we spoke in Spanish a little bit. Sabes muy bien español.
Igualmente, my brother. Same to you.
So brother, last thing to close out, a story that nobody has ever heard about you, like something that nobody has heard about you ever in any podcast, public stuff, to share with our driven community.
All right, hold on. Let me think. Oh, I got it. So nobody's ever heard this. So I was in Orlando, and I left home early. And my mom lied to me about my biological father, and so we had rift. But I used the term earlier. I don't know if people caught it. I had to learn how to go from feelings to facts. I wanted to be successful more than I was at that time. And I realized I was heavy in my feelings. Like, I'm not feeling, my mom, whatever. And then I got into facts, and the facts said, honor thy mother and father. And so me and my mom had gotten into it on the phone. And I was in Orlando, took my kids to see Disney. I was in the hall, so they didn't hear me. We were going back and forth, back and forth. And when she hung up the phone, I said to myself, you do not have control over your feelings. You're possessed. And by possessed, I just mean you don't have control. It's like you saying stuff and doing stuff you don't really want to do, but yet you're doing it and at a very high level. It's like, Eric, you got to get control of your feelings and operate from facts. The principle is that's your mom. And even though you felt like she lied to you, she could have had an abortion, and she didn't. She must have had good reasons for doing what she did. That from that day forward, I vowed that I would never talk to my mom like that. I didn't cuss her out or anything. I just was like super emotional, and we were yelling. And I was like, I'll never do that again. And honestly, I made up in my mind that I was never going to do it again. And we never got into it like that again. And what I'm trying to say in terms of driven, I was driven by change. I was driven by, I can't keep talking to my mom like this. I can't keep speaking and talking life into people, yet I'm getting into it with my mom. Like, that's not right. That's two messages. That's me saying one thing, and how do you love strangers? And you don't get into it with strangers like that, but you get into it with your mom through madre. And so I was like, no mas, no, period. And so I hung up the phone. I made up in my mind I would never do it again. I did my reading. I meditated. I got a coach, and I never did that again. So there are people who, not your mom, but you have something that you're doing that you don't want to do, and you keep doing it. And now you got to get to the point where you realize your next level of growth is going beyond that thing that you used to do and learning how to stop and go to the next level, whatever that is. For me, it was not arguing with my mom. And it's just so funny. My mom called me about a month ago and was like, me and your sister got into it. And I was laughing. I was like, man, I remember when me and you got into it. And I was like, Ma, you got to stop. So I just want to say to everybody out there, you have more power than you think you have over you. You have more control over you than you think you have over you. And you can do more than you think you could do. I never thought I could stop arguing, ever. It's just how I grew up. I grew up in the urban community. It's what we did. We debated. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We debated. We fought with each other. If it wasn't physical, it was like, fussing. And I told myself you could do it. I just want to encourage y'all out there. I don't care what it is. You have the power to do more than you think you can. And you have the power to stop stuff you think you can't stop.
Awesome, ET. Thank you so much, brother. I'll see you this Saturday. And such a great time. Powerful information.
Thank you.
Vemos.
Pronto, mi amigo.